Hey everyone, this is WobblyWallaby, and today I'll be analyzing the Gacha Duchess of Bat from the November Gacha machine. Is this worth getting? Stay tuned to find out. Duchess of Bat has a 5% pull rate from this month's Gacha machine. This headwear provides Holy, Dark, Ghost, and Poison element damage plus 10%. The damage increases by another 10% when attacking targets with inferior elements. An example of an inferior element is if you're using Holy and attacking Dark. You do 200% more damage, so that extra damage means you're attacking an inferior element. If this style of gacha looks familiar, it's because they had released Homestead of Snowy Owl in May 2022. Homestead of Snowy Owl dealt with wind, earth, water, and fire, which I personally find more flexible for most of the classes. Duchess of Bat has much more restrictive elements because you can't use converters for these elements. You need to use skills or equipment. Taekwon and Soulbinders have Warm Wind, which can convert to Dark, which is Shadow, Holy, and Ghost. I think this headwear has the most value for these two classes since they can easily convert themselves. For other classes, Priest's Esperecio is a common way to turn your skill and attacks to holy damage. I also think this headwear is great for Rune Masters who will be using Heavens for holy damage and sometimes the Dark Fire Sword for dark damage. Here's the elemental chart. I find Poison is one of the weaker elements for PvE. If I want to do extra damage to wind, earth, and fire, I'd rather just use elemental converters to deal an extra 75% more damage when compared to Poison versus these elements. For Holy, Shadow, and Ghost, they have some good uses. If you convert to Ghost for double damage versus Ghost type, here's some bosses of interest. You can deal more damage versus Soul Player. For Thanatos Tower, the Sorrow and Worry Polymer. For Museum, Late King's Chest Knight and Kimura. For Lost Isles, the Sea Spirit Totem. There's definitely a lot of ghost types. If you convert to Dark to deal double damage to Holy, you can deal more damage to Seed of Yggdrasil. For Thanatos Tower, the Valkyrie. And for Museum, Pakurani. For Holy versus Dark and Undead, you can get better damage versus Dreamy Cage side. For Thanatos Tower, Rune Master, and for Museum, the Fantasy Dragon. As you can see, there are plenty of good targets in PvE if you can convert to these elements. I'm not sure how lucky you are, but if your luck sucks when rolling for gacha machines and you're low on BCC, then Smell.1 will be great for you. This allows you to get discounted BCC and premiums for Ragnarok Mobile. They have been around for more than 8 years and have lots of global business partners for other games too. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check them out. Thanks to Smell.1 for sponsoring this video. So the next question is this headwear the best in slot? Let's find out by testing this against the legend level dragon in Panape Museum. I'm going to use my Taekwon so I can convert to Holy to deal double damage to the dragon. Here are my stats. I have 22,000 attack. I have 90.5% penetration. My skill damage increase is at 21%. My damage is at 113.6%. I have 45.1% physical damage increase. I have 218.5% ignore defense. This is a bit higher than usual since I needed to use Voodoo Blade for ignore defense since I lack good morale and chance, but that ended up giving me way more than I needed. My holy damage is at 21%. For Adventure Handbook, I have 2,510 attack and 49% attack deposit. For skill, I'm going to use Nova Explosion. Normally I do auto attack and proc this skill, but that would be hard for a damage test. so I'm just going to put Nova Explosion in my auto bar as if my Taekwon procced it during an auto attack. Here's my gear overview. I go into my gear in more detail in my Taekwon videos, and I'll provide a link in the description if you're curious about my gear. I set my Warm Wind to Holy. I equip my +6 Bashful Moment first. This will give me 10% damage and 5% MVP damage at Refined 6. This also has a +50 attack enchant. My Warm Wind is still active. I hit it for 1.56 million damage. Next, I swap to a clean Holy Knight's Blessing for 12% skill damage. I cast Warm Wind, then I hit it for 1.66 million damage. Next, I equip Duchess of Bat. I cast Warm Wind, I hit it for 1.76 million damage. Here's my summary. For my character, Duchess of Bat is the best in slot. It isn't surprising since the extra damage caused by the inferior element is huge. But what if you aren't facing an inferior element, how good would it still be? This is a tough call, especially for Legend mode since those bosses have very high reductions, which includes holy damage reduction as well. So the extra 10% holy damage from Duchess of Bat can perform very well. Let's start off this test with Bashful Moment first. I cast Warm Wind, and then make my way over. I hit it for 918,000 damage. Next, I switch to Holy Knight's Blessing. I cast Warm Wind and begin the long trek over. I hit it for 982,000 damage. Lastly, I use Duchess of Bat. I cast Warm Wind, and then run over. I hit it for 1.12 million damage. Here are my results when I'm not hitting an inferior element. Surprisingly, Duchess of Bat still wins. Overall, this is a great headwear, and if you're a Taekwon or a Soulbinder, I'd highly recommend you buy this. If you're another class and you're able to take advantage of these elements through other means and you target these monsters frequently, then I'd highly recommend you buy this as well. I had Homestead of Snowy Owl before, and I'm glad I can finally finish the other half of this with this new Duchess of Bat headwear. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.